Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Nancy Rebecca with Intuitive Mind, and today I'm going to be talking about the energy of naiveness. And the topic is Stop Being Naive to Spiritual Awakening. So it's a great topic. We're going to spend about 20 minutes this morning talking about that topic, and then I'm going to lead you through a guided meditation so that you can start clearing the energy of naiveness. So good morning, good morning. I see that you're all starting to pop on. So you can give me a little thumbs up, a little heart, a little comment, and yeah, we'll get started here in just a minute. So hello out there in YouTube land and Facebook land. This is Thursday morning. Happy Thursday. I've been preparing for this talk and all week because it's a big topic for me. I definitely was a person and probably still am where I have my own blind spots, but definitely when I was younger, I was very naive to the world. And yeah, that kind of waking up to the truth every time I turned another corner was quite shocking. And so in this talk this morning, we'll talk a little bit about that and kind of teach you ways that you can start to release your own naiveness so you don't turn those corners and get kind of blindsided by truth when you never even knew that it existed. So good morning, Leanne, and what's everybody drinking this morning? Where are you calling in from or writing in from? So one of the things was about being naive. So according to kind of psychologists or psychology today, I was kind of looking up to see how does psychology view naiveness? Because we often will think of being naive, being innocent, as a quality of your personality that you're born with. And in psychology, what they say is it's kind of errors in thinking. They look at being super naive and super innocent as errors in thinking that is propped up by your subconscious experiences. So you've got the consciousness, which is what you are awake to, what you're aware of, and the subconscious is what's kind of hidden below the line, what you may not know is there, or that, in your brain, you've kind of walled off different aspects of how you see the world that creates these filters to allow you to continue to be naive about what is going on. It's a protective mechanism, but there's also a quality of energy to it, an energy quality that as a clairvoyant psychic that I see in the field. And for some, when I look I think everyone has a little bit of naivety, but for some, the naivety energy can be super, super, super thick, really creating a lot of buffers. And for some of you, it's quite a bit thinner. So hello from Vancouver Island. Hi, John. Hello, Lucia and Maria. So when I looked up the definition of being naivety, it means lacking in experience, lacking in wisdom, lacking in good judgment. But it also means that when you are naive to the truth of something, that you will deliberately reject it as not true, because that naive energy is blocking you from seeing the truth. Now, remember, this year is the year 2022. It's about injustice, coming back to justice. It's about beauty, the energy of beauty coming up in the world. And it's about healing, helping to heal others if you are a healer, but also healing yourself. So that's what we're going to do a little bit more of today. So what do you believe in life? What do you want to believe? Often remember, as spirit, you are not naive. Your spirit is not naive. Your higher self, your higher wise self sees the truth of everything. Being naive And wrapping yourself in the energy of naivety is a human condition. So often our spirit is trying to get our attention to let us know what we're being naive about, but it can block your intuition, it can block your sense of things. Because why? Because you in your mind are still wanting to deliberately reject the fact that there is a truth on the other side of that wall of being naive. I remember often people ask me, Nancy, what do you believe? How do you believe? Or they'll say, you don't really believe that's true, do you? And what I have to always come back and say is what I know. So when I was 30 years old, almost 30, when I had my out of body experience, I was naive to the fact that I even had a spirit. I thought that I was only a human being, a physical body. So you can imagine when I awakened to the fact that I was a spirit, that was a lot of naiveness that I had to dump down my grounding. However, I was surrounded at that time by some people that believed that what experience I was having was real, and then by many, many, many others. They were like, their naiveness did not want me to believe that I was a spirit. And so they would deny, they would reject that truth, that what I saw was a truth. So how many of you have these beliefs where you're surrounded by people and they're saying that's just not possible? How many times have you said that in your life? That's just not possible, or that just didn't happen. So the big things at the human level that I see often is around our relationships. Now, I'm 63, so I have some seasoned experience about relationships. So when I go back to my earlier years, let's go back to childhood. Let's go back to when you were in middle school. You had friends and you thought they were your friends. You were naive to that truth. And then in actuality, they may start talking about you behind your back. They may start to bully you. They may start to kind of push you around mentally, emotionally, maybe even physically. And so that was a shock to the system when you had layers and layers of naiveness that said, that they would never do something like that to you. Then you move into teenage years, young adult years, it just repeated. Because why? Because you're creating your relationships from your subconscious mind, what I call below the surface, that you're creating your relationships from those kind of stuck, non-conscious memories or experiences. But as you start to get seasoned in life, and that wise life, and you have a lot of experience, you're able to bring that to a level of consciousness. So what I always tell people is, what I believed 5 years ago, I don't believe now. And what I believe 5 years from now probably won't even look like anything I believe today. So once I had that seasoned experience to know that truth would reveal itself over and over and over again, I stopped trying to reject truth and just be more open-minded to truth. Am I open minded to everything? Oh no, I still turn those corners where I am shocked about what I was naive to. Now, the biggest things that I think that we can all say we were naive to is politics. Well, I knew a lot of people back, in 2016 who were very clear and very clear about the truth. But I have to admit, I was very naive. I was naive about corruption. So I believed in my relationships that they were honest and that they were true. And then when something would happen, it would say, wow, that isn't true. Or, believing and being naive to the fact that my kids were happy. And then finding, as they go through teenage years and young adults, it's like, oh, they're not happy. So being naive to those certain things. So if someone is going to hit you, You're going to see their fist ball up. You're going to see their face scrunch up in anger. They might even express some really volatile words. You know without a doubt that they're going to hit you so that you can move out of the way. If a truck's brakes go out and it's heading down the hill right towards you, you know that that truck has the potential to hit you. That is truth. You can't be naive that you're actually seeing it. But this is the thing about the energy world, is in that unseen world, we can deny, we can be naive to what's happening in the spiritual realm. So often when I'm working with students, it's that naiveness of, I'm not intuitive. You know, they're going to believe doubt. That naiveness is, I'm not getting this clear knowingness. I can't possibly believe this knowingness because what I see is happening is different than what my intuition is telling me. And this is where I'm really wanting you all to kind of open up to hear this a bit more when it comes to the energy world, because people throw energy. You can get punched with energy with someone who is triggered by something that you say, even when they have a smile on their face. Your spirit can tell you, all right, you're being naive to this person. Your spirit might tell you, you might want to give them quite a bit of room. But if that naivety that you're wrapped up in is saying, oh no, they would never do that, then you can be, that naivety can kind of cause you to be blindsided. I remember when Spirit told me once, Nancy, your naiveness does not serve you very well. So I want you to hear that. Your naiveness does not serve you very well. And so then my spirit said, you must always prepare yourself energetically as if you were always going into the lion's den. So imagine that you're going to this potluck with a lot of really good friends from, your school years, and you're really excited about it. But again, you never know when you can be naive to know when someone gets triggered, that energetically it might be harmful to your energy field. So that's why Spirit told me, always prepare, Nancy, your energy field as if you're going into the lion's den, no matter what the situation is. Because here we are on earth, we're trying to learn how to manage ourselves. Ideally in the world, you want to know how to manage your own emotions. When your own emotions get out of control, do you throw that emotional energy at other people? Do you want to blame other people because that naiveness suddenly kind of moved out of the way and you saw the truth, and then you just start getting mad at everyone? Like maybe a partner having an affair that you couldn't see, that you were naive to, because that naiveness that wanted to keep it buried at the subconscious level, even though your spirit that's not naive really was trying to get your attention. So like I said, it can be very thin for some, it can be very thick for others. So this is what the energy of naiveness looks to me. It looks like marshmallow. So let's think of, like that jar of marshmallow. And imagine you're standing in that jar of marshmallow. You're trying to move, but when energy comes, it can kind of bounce off of that. When reality comes, when truth is trying to come through, it hits that kind of white, marshmallowy, thick, milky energy, and it bounces off. Why? So that you can continue to look at your life through that narrow lens of what you believe is truth. You are protecting yourself and your beliefs and the way that you want to see your life and your comfort zone. And so what's happening here right now here on the world as we're going through this expansive awakening and consciousness, that naive energy cannot no longer be sustained. in that fifth dimensional realm. Remember, it's not naiveness is not a spiritual thing. Naiveness is a human condition. So what's happening as you're moving from the third dimensional state of consciousness, your body is still going to be in the human world. But as you're moving to those higher states of consciousness, that naive energy can no longer create buffers. And so that can be a little bit harsh, especially if you've had a very kind of narrow way of looking at your relationships, looking at your job, looking at life, looking at yourself. Maybe you are naive to the fact that you might be having a few more drinks of alcohol than you are. It's like, oh no, I only had one drink. And then someone said, oh no, you had five. It's like that naiveness can buffer you at that level. But when I titled this, Stop Being Naive to Your Spiritual Awakening, you are awakening. The world is awakening. Trees are awakening. Stones are awakening. Your family's awakening. The spirit realm is awakening. Star beings are awakening. Like everyone and everything is awakening, including you and everyone around you. But when you doubt that, or you say, I don't think that's possible. How can that be possible? That is where your naiveness is kind of blocking you. Now, what are some of the things that we can be naive to in the spiritual realm? So this is one of the main things that Spirit wanted me to talk about. As humans, we are naive. Many humans, maybe not in this group, but a majority of the humans on the face of the planet think that humans are the only individual that exist on the face of the planet. That they may not believe in star beings, or they may not believe that aliens exist, or they may not believe that there's mythical beings of the earth. They may not believe that there's angels or ascended masters like Jesus or Buddha. They don't believe that there are dark angels or werewolves or Bigfoot, for example. So those things we were like, yeah, Nancy's getting into a range where it's like, I'm not sure if I believe in that or not. And that's that buffer, and that's okay to have that buffer. But the buffer is dissolving, whether you want it to or not, and truth is being revealed. So I have another page that is called the Blue Light Movement. And if you aren't on that Facebook page and you're interested in it, then I invite you to join it. But I remember in 2017, the star beings told me that there was going to be a big event in 2023 in the four corners of the Southwest of the United States around the pyramids there. And I said, well, there aren't any pyramids in the United States. And their only answer was, what has been hidden to you, Nancy, will be revealed when it's time. So that's what's happening right now. Your experiences in the world are just your limited experiences at the human level, but spiritually, do not be surprised. Open those curtains about what is going to be revealed to you. We are a multiverse. That means a multi-dimensional universe. That means that the truth is that there are all kinds of spiritual beings in other realms that have different shapes, different sizes, different personalities, different intentions. But it can feel overwhelming and even frightening to think that that could possibly be true. And so I get that. That's why we want to just move naive energy a little bit at a time. But you can challenge yourself as well. You can challenge yourself to look at those things that you might be naive about. So when I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2020 during COVID, let's just throw everything in the kitchen sink in there, it was a shock. It was like my naiveness was like, I can't get breast cancer. I meditate a lot. I can't get breast cancer. I eat healthy. I can't get breast cancer. It's just like that naiveness was shocked into releasing. And when I turned that corner, the 2x4 effect of being diagnosed with cancer was a real shock to my system. And even when I was going through chemotherapy and radiation, and I'm coming on doing live calls, people were like, how did you, of all people, get cancer? So that naiveness says, if you do all the right things, you can't get sick. That's being naive. The truth is, yes, because getting sick is lessons. It taught me about my body in a different way, and I had valuable lessons out of that. However, this is the story I want to tell you. So I was pretty miserable, when I would have chemotherapy, and I was tired and all of those things that you can imagine. And I remember I was trying to find some show on television that I could watch that would be distracting. And I saw this show called Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. And I love history. I love archaeology. I love all of those things. But I didn't know there was a show called Ancient Aliens. And I didn't know that there were 18 friggin' seasons of that show. So my naiveness was that aliens don't exist, or if they exist, that's somebody else's interest, not mine. But what I was shocked, remember, I come out, I turn the corner, I'm shocked into truth. 18 years of ancient aliens that our young children and our grandchildren have been growing up on, young adults growing up on. That meant that they had a more expanded view of the world than I did. So that's what I did in that year of going through treatments is I watched all 18 seasons of it. It blew my mind because so what I'm saying is you can challenge yourself to challenge that naiveness. Read about things that you don't believe are true. Just had a student the other day said, can I just fake it till I make it? It's like, absolutely. Reserve truth until you feel like you can handle truth. But what I'm saying is naive energy, that thick, white, milky, spongy energy of layers within you is starting to melt, and rapid fire truth is coming to the surface that you are psychic, you are intuitive, you are surrounded by an incredible multi-universe, and that not all humans are truthful or nice or kind or helpful. And then even naiveness can tell you that someone isn't very nice. And then you find out later that they are. So it can block things. So we want to do a quick meditation, but I want to tell you kind of what naiveness looks like in the energy field. So, an Oreo cookie. I hope everyone knows what an Oreo cookie is. So if you turn it on its side, you've got the chocolate cookie, you have the white cream in the middle, and then you have chocolate. Now imagine that kind of stacked in your aura, kind of that darker line, white line, darker line, white line, darker line, white line. So for some of you, it can be 200 feet thick in your aura. Now, what is the dark line? The dark line is pain, denial, skepticism, narrow-mindedness. It can be trauma. And then that white buffer, so that you don't feel the rawness of that pain, that naive energy buffers it for you. So when we're doing this meditation, I want you to just give yourself time to release some naive energy, but know that it's going to take that buffer off of some of the ribbons of old energy. So you'll want to release those ribbons as well so that you can get to the next layer of naiveness and clear that. Now, I just want to say there are some of you that are very high achievers. You want to be enlightened by Friday. You want to just, let me just clear that 200 feet of naiveness so that I can awaken. It's like, no, please give your body time to adjust to truth that your body didn't know existed. It can be a shock to your system. So I'm going to invite you today to just sample this meditative tool to start releasing naiveness, but be conscious of how much is too much. All right? Be conscious. All right. Go ahead and close your eyes and turn within. Say hello to those beautiful bodies of yours. And remember, also today is the full moon in Aquarius. So let's take advantage of just this really enlightened energy being infused on our earth at this time. And just let your body know that you're going to release some layers of naiveness, and you might release a few more tomorrow or next week or next month, but you'd like to start releasing a little bit today. And you would appreciate your body's cooperation, your human self. Say hello to your wise, highly intelligent, highly intuitive, higher self, and ask your own spirit to help you to release some layers of naiveness, some layers of old energy or pain in a healthy, balanced way. Now you can be playful and imagine a grounding image that will best support releasing that spongy, white, milky, buffering energy. And it will support releasing some of those ribbons of old energy sandwiched in between. It can be a tree with roots. It can be a waterfall, rainbow, barrel of monkeys, unicorns, fall leaves. Your grounding can be anything you can imagine. And go ahead and extend your grounding all the way down through all the layers of the earth until you get to the magnetic core, and then create another image to help you wrap and secure your grounding at the magnetic core of the earth that is great at recycling old energy. All right, let's now create a large ball of cosmic celestial blue energy, kind of like lapis or cobalt blue or royal blue. So go ahead and that particular blue, create a large ball of it. Just call it into the room where you are to begin flowing down through the top of your aura, filling up your body, and continuing to flow down your grounding. So you're creating this healing flow of blue. Blue is certainty. Blue is truth. Blue, this color blue dissolves illusions. which naiveness is an illusion and helps reveal truth. You know, like the Michelin man, that would be that big white bodysuit of bouncy protection. That's what naiveness can look like. So, right now, imagine and pretend that you can see, sense, feel, and know your own layers of that white, milky, spongy energy. And let that blue gently, gently, gently start dissolving it. And that as it dissolves, the ribbons of old pain, old energy will drain right down the grounding with it. If you find that you just have layers and layers and layers of naiveness, no judgment, no criticism, just let yourself celebrate the fact that you get to start letting your naive buffers go. Remind your naiveness of what today's date is. Remind the energy of naiveness of how old you are now, because some of that naiveness you uh, adopted into your energy field as a young child. So, as an adult, remind yourself of your adult age so the childhood naiveness can release. Releasing pain and naiveness, revealing expanded spiritual truth. Whew, there you go. That's a good amount right now to work with. So after I go off of this live event, you're more than welcome to go sit and just gently release a little bit more. But you can also check in with your body and see if it's able to release a little bit more or if it needs to wait a few days to adjust. And then when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes and notice how you feel releasing some of that naiveness, revealing the truth, the knowledge, the high knowledge that you have spiritually, and that truth and high knowledge that we do live in a multi-universe, multi-dimensions. And just like there's all shapes and sizes of people, all shapes and sizes of personalities, all shapes and sizes of being kind and caring versus mean and not caring, that there's existence of all of this around us. And the more that we can get to that truth, the more we're not blindsided when we finally see the truth in ourselves and in others. Because that's where we're moving in consciousness in the fifth dimensional realm. So I would love to hear how that meditation was for you. Again, after I close this live down, you can still post that. I would love to hear what that experience was. So open your eyes. A whole world is revealing itself that has always been there, but we have been naive to that. Make sure you drink lots and lots and lots of water, because naiveness slows your system down because it's thick. So as you release that, your own vibrational frequency will rapidly increase. You want to have enough water to hydrate that detoxing mode. All right, everyone. Thanks again. I will see you next Thursday. I will be releasing my blog today on naiveness, which gives a lot more information there, and that will be sent to my mailing list. So go to intuitivemind.org, sign up for the questionnaire, and then just ask to be placed on the mailing list. So take care, everyone. We'll see you again next week.